Discipline isn't about control, it's about freedom. Let that sink in for a moment, because for so many of us, the word discipline has been tangled up with ideas of sacrifice, of restriction, of constantly telling yourself no. But that's not discipline's true nature. Discipline is about guiding yourself toward your highest potential, toward a life where you're not held hostage by your impulses, fears, or the chaos of the world around you. It's about stepping into your power. When you hear discipline, what do you feel? Do you imagine something harsh and rigid, like an invisible taskmaster breathing down your neck? Or can you start to see it as a gentle hand on your shoulder, steadying you, reminding you of the bigger picture? True discipline isn't about punishment, it's about liberation. It's the realization that saying yes to the life you want often means saying no to the distractions and temptations pulling you away from it. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in a forest. There's a path winding toward a breathtaking view, one that will take your breath away with its beauty, one that will remind you of why you began the journey in the first place. But between you and that path, there are brambles, tangled vines, and all kinds of obstacles. Discipline isn't the force hacking at the vines in frustration. It's the calm, deliberate focus that keeps you moving forward one step at a time, trusting that the view is worth it. Not as a strict overseer, but as a guide saying, I'm here to help you close this gap. I'm here to help you step into the person you're capable of becoming. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly trusted yourself? Not the version of you that reacts in the moment, but the version of you that dreams, that plans, that knows what's possible. Discipline is the bridge between that dreamer and the doer. It's what allows you to take those beautiful ideas and turn them into reality. Without it, your dreams remain just that, dreams. But with it, your entire life begins to transform. Here's a little secret: the freedom you're searching for isn't out there somewhere. It's not in the vacation you're planning or the promotion you're chasing. It's within you, waiting to be unlocked, and discipline is the key. Because every time you choose the action that aligns with your goals over the one that offers instant gratification, you're proving to yourself that you're capable. You're building trust in your own ability to create the life you want. Let me tell you a story. Picture a young artist, someone who dreams of painting masterpieces, but finds themselves staring at a blank canvas day after day, paralyzed by self-doubt. They tell themselves, I'll paint when I feel inspired. But inspiration is fleeting, and weeks go by without a single brushstroke. Then one day they decide to show up anyway. They set a small goal: paint for 30 minutes each day, no matter how they feel. At first it's hard. The brush feels heavy in their hand and the canvas seems intimidating. But day by day something shifts. The act of showing up becomes a ritual, a rhythm. Inspiration starts to flow not because they waited for it, but because they created the conditions for it to thrive. That's what discipline does. It creates the space for your best self to emerge. It's not about being perfect or never slipping up. It's about returning to the path again and again, trusting that each step is bringing you closer to the life you're meant to live. Let's get personal for a moment. Think about something you've been wanting to do, something that's been on your heart but feels out of reach. Maybe it's writing a book, starting a business, or committing to a healthier lifestyle. What's been holding you back? Is it really the lack of time or resources, or is it the belief that you can't stay consistent, that you'll fail before you even begin? Here's the truth: discipline isn't about forcing yourself to grind through the process. It's about falling in love with the journey. It's about recognizing that every choice you make is a vote for the person you want to become. And over time, those votes add up. They create momentum. They create change. Take a deep breath with me. Let go of the idea that discipline is this rigid, joyless thing. Instead, see it for what it truly is: the highest form of self-respect. When you're disciplined, you're saying to yourself, I'm worth it. My dreams are worth it. My future is worth it. That's not control. That's freedom. Because the freedom to live the life you want doesn't come from doing whatever you feel like in the moment. It comes from aligning your actions with your values, your goals, your vision for the future. It comes from making choices today that your future self will thank you for. And isn't that the ultimate act of love? To take care of the version of you that hasn't even arrived yet? So the next time you find yourself tempted to take the easy way out, pause. Ask yourself, is this action leading me closer to the life I want or pulling me further away? And if the answer isn't clear, take a deep breath and choose the path that feels true to you. Not the one that's easiest, but the one that's aligned with your highest self. Because at the end of the day, discipline isn't about control. It's about freedom. And freedom, that's the life you were born to live. Every no to distraction is a yes to your dreams. It's such a simple truth, but think about the weight of it. Every time you say no to something pulling at your focus, you're saying yes to something far greater. Something that matters. Something that has the potential to change your life. Distraction isn't just the loud notifications on your phone or the endless scroll of social media. It's anything that pulls you away from your purpose, from your path, from your dreams. And here's the thing, those distractions. They're seductive. They whisper to you, this is easier, this is more fun, you can deal with your goals tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes when you live like that, does it? Now, let me ask you this, how often do you find yourself trading what you truly want for what feels good in the moment? Be honest. Maybe you've promised yourself you'll start working on that passion project, but then the evening slips away because a new series dropped, or you couldn't resist checking one more email. Or maybe you've told yourself you'd finally get serious about your health, but every time you're faced with a choice, you tell yourself just this once. But here's the secret, every small choice you make is either a vote for your dreams or a vote against them. Let that sink in. Because the life you want isn't built in grand, sweeping moments, it's built in the quiet, ordinary decisions you make every single day. Think about this, what are you really saying yes to when you say no to distraction? You're saying yes to clarity, yes to progress, yes to the person you've always wanted to be. Every single no becomes a stepping stone on the path to your highest self. Can you feel how powerful that is? Let me share a story with you. There was a man years ago who wanted to write a book. Not just any book, but something meaningful, something that would change lives. He had the ideas, the passion, the talent, but he also had distractions. Family obligations, work stress, the endless noise of life. And for years, he told himself he didn't have the time. Until one day he made a decision. He would wake up 30 minutes earlier every morning and write. Just 30 minutes. It didn't seem like much, but he made a commitment during that time. There would be no distractions, no phone, no excuses, no I'll do it tomorrow. And do you know what happened? In 6 months, he had a manuscript. In a year, he had a published book. And in a few years, that book was touching lives around the world, all because he learned the power of saying no to what didn't matter so he could say yes to what did. Now think about your life. What could you create, build, or become if you said no to just one distraction a day? What would happen if you reclaimed those moments of focus and funneled them into something that truly lights you up inside? The answer is everything. Everything could change. Here's what I want you to try. Tomorrow when you wake up, think about one small decision you can make that aligns with your dreams. Maybe it's setting a boundary around your time. Maybe it's choosing to read a chapter of a book instead of scrolling through your feed. Whatever it is, commit to it. And when the distractions come knocking, and they will remember this, every no is a yes. And it's not just about the big dreams either. It's about the kind of person you're becoming in the process. Because every time you choose focus over distraction, you're training yourself to trust your own decisions. You're proving to yourself that you can stay committed that you're not at the mercy of the noise around you. And that's where true power lies, in those small, everyday choices that shape your character and your future. Here's a little exercise for you. Close your eyes and imagine two versions of yourself. One is sitting in a room full of distractions. The TV is blaring, the phone is buzzing, there are papers scattered everywhere. This version of you is overwhelmed, frustrated, stuck. Now picture another version of yourself. This one is calm, focused, intentional. They're sitting at a desk with a clear vision, working steadily toward their dreams. Which version feels more like the person you were born to be? And here's the kicker: the only difference between those two versions is what they've said no to. That's it. The first version let distractions dictate their life. The second one chose to say yes to their dreams. It's not easy. Let's be real about that. The world is designed to pull your attention in 100 directions at once. But you are not here to live a distracted life. You are here to live a purposeful one. And purpose requires focus. It requires you to protect your time and energy like the precious resources they are. So the next time you're faced with a choice whether to scroll through your phone or take a step toward your goals, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really saying yes to right now? And if the answer isn't your dreams, take a deep breath and redirect. Because you have the power to choose. You've always had it. It's just a matter of remembering. And remember this: the more you say no to the things that don't serve you, the easier it becomes. It's like strengthening a muscle. At first it's hard, but over time it becomes second nature. You start to crave that sense of focus and alignment because you see the results it brings. You see how much closer it brings you to the life you've been dreaming of. Let's go even deeper. Imagine your dreams as a fire, a beautiful glowing fire that warms you, that lights up the night. Every no to distraction is like adding a log to that fire. It grows stronger, brighter, more powerful. But every time you give in to distraction, it's like throwing water on the flames. It doesn't extinguish them completely, but it dampens their glow. Which do you want to feed? The fire of your dreams or the fleeting pull of distraction? And here's the truth: you won't always get it right. There will be days when you slip up, when you give in, when the distractions win. And that's okay. What matters is that you come back. What matters is that you keep choosing over and over again to say yes to your dreams. Because every single choice adds up. Every single no to distraction strengthens your focus, sharpens your vision, and brings you closer to the life you're meant to live. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be persistent. So start small. Start with one choice today. Say no to one distraction and see how it feels. See how it empowers you, how it shifts your energy. And then do it again tomorrow and the next day. And watch as those small choices transform your life. Because every no to distraction isn't just a no. It's a resounding, unstoppable, undeniable yes to everything you've ever dreamed of becoming. Willpower is a muscle. Flex it daily and it grows stronger. Just let that thought settle in. Imagine your willpower as something alive, dynamic, and full of potential. It's not fixed, it's not limited. It's a muscle waiting to be nurtured, strengthened, and tested. Every time you use it, every time you make a decision to align your actions with your higher self, that muscle grows a little more. And the beauty, the more you strengthen it, the easier it becomes to lift the weight of life's challenges. Now, let's talk about muscles for a moment. If you've ever gone to the gym or picked up a heavy box, you know this: you don't build strength by avoiding the weights. You build it by leaning into the resistance, by showing up consistently, by embracing the discomfort because you know what it leads to. Willpower works the same way. The resistance you feel when you choose to do the harder thing, the right thing, that's where the magic happens. That's the growth. think about it. When was the last time you faced a choice? Maybe it was something as simple as getting out of bed early to start your day with purpose, or saying no to that extra slice of cake because it didn't align with your health goals. Or maybe it was something bigger, like choosing to step into a new opportunity despite your fear. In those moments when you chose to exercise your willpower, you weren't just making a single decision. You were training your mind, you were building your muscle. And here's what's so powerful about this willpower: isn't about forcing yourself to do things you hate. It's about creating alignment between your present actions and your future dreams. It's about saying, I am worth the effort. My vision is worth the effort. Let's pause for a second. Can you feel that? That small spark inside you, that little voice saying, yes, I can do this, that's your willpower waking up. And here's the thing about sparks: they're small, but they have the potential to ignite something enormous. Your willpower is the same. The smallest decision made with intention can set off a chain reaction that transforms your entire life. But let me ask you this: how often do you actually exercise that muscle? How often do you put yourself in situations where you consciously challenge yourself to grow? Because just like a physical muscle, your willpower only gets stronger when you use it. If you avoid discomfort, if you shy away from challenges, that muscle gets weak. And then when life inevitably throws something hard your way, it feels overwhelming. Not because you're not capable, but because you haven't trained for it. Here's a story for you. Imagine a man who decides to start running. On day one, he laces up his sneakers and barely makes it a block before he's gasping for air. His legs hurt, his lungs burn, and he's tempted to quit. But he doesn't. He shows up again the next day. And the day after that, slowly but surely, his body begins to adapt. A block turns into a mile turns into 5. And one day, without even realizing it, he's running distances he once thought impossible. That's what happens when you flex your willpower every day. At first, it feels small, insignificant, but those small choices, they compound, they grow, and before you know it, you're doing things you once believed were out of reach. Let's bring this closer to home. Think about an area of your life where you felt stuck, where you've told yourself, I just don't have the willpower for this. Maybe it's waking up early, or breaking a habit, or staying consistent with a goal. Whatever it is, I want you to shift your perspective. Instead of saying, I don't have the willpower, start saying, I'm building my willpower. Do you feel the difference? One is defeat. The other is empowerment. And here's the beauty of willpower: it doesn't demand perfection. It just asks for consistency. You don't need to be perfect to make progress. You just need to show up, because every time you do, every time you make the choice to honor your highest self, you're strengthening that muscle. You're rewiring your brain. You're becoming the person you were meant to be. Now let me challenge you. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, I want you to start small. Pick one thing, just one, that stretches your willpower. Maybe it's taking a cold shower. Maybe it's spending 5 minutes meditating instead of reaching for your phone. Whatever it is, commit to it. And when you feel that resistance, that voice in your head saying, I don't want to lean in, remind yourself this is the moment where growth happens. Because here's the truth: discipline and willpower aren't about deprivation, they're about liberation. They free you from the chains of your lesser self. They free you from the excuses, the doubts, the fears. And in that freedom, you discover your true strength. Let me leave you with this thought. Imagine your willpower as a flame. Some days it burns bright and strong, lighting up everything around you. Other days it flickers, barely holding on. But no matter how small that flame gets, it's never out. It's always there, waiting for you to tend to it, to nurture it, to help it grow. And when you do, when you make the choice to keep that flame alive, you illuminate not just your own path, but the paths of everyone around you. So go ahead, flex that muscle, tend to that flame, and watch as your life transforms. Not because of one big moment, but because of the thousands of small, consistent choices that lead you closer to your highest self. That's the power of willpower. That's the beauty of discipline. And that's the life waiting for you, stronger, freer, and more aligned than ever before. Your mind is a garden. What are you planting today? Think about that for a moment. Every thought you think, every intention you set is like a seed dropped into the fertile soil of your consciousness. And here's the truth, whatever you plant, you'll grow. It's not a question of if, it's only a matter of what. Now, here's the real kicker. Most of us go through life scattering seeds without even realizing it. Seeds of doubt, seeds of fear, seeds of fear, seeds of limitation. And then we're surprised when our garden looks more like a tangle of weeds than the lush, vibrant paradise we dream of. But here's the good news, you don't have to keep planting the same seeds. You can choose. Yes, you can choose what grows in the garden of your mind. Take a breath with me right now. Feel that? That's the space where transformation begins. Because in this moment, you have the power to start planting something new. Think about the last thought that passed through your mind. Was it kind? Was it empowering? Or was it the kind of thought that holds you back, the kind that whispers, you're not good enough, or you'll never figure this out? Here's the thing, your thoughts are not just fleeting whispers. They're the architects of your reality. Let me ask you something radical. What would happen if, starting today, you became the conscious gardener of your mind? Not a casual observer, not someone who lets whatever wind blows by decide what grows there, but a deliberate, loving caretaker. Imagine that for a moment. Imagine standing in the soil of your own life, holding a handful of seeds, each one representing a thought, an intention, a belief. Which ones would you choose to plant? Maybe you'd plant seeds of courage, seeds of abundance, seeds of love and compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. Because let's face it, when was the last time you truly nurtured yourself with empowering thoughts? Here's a little exercise for you. Close your eyes for a second and picture your mind as a garden. What do you see? Be honest. Is it thriving, full of beautiful blooms and towering trees of potential? Or is it overrun with weeds, choked with the doubts and fears that have crept in over time? Here's a truth that might surprise you. The weeds didn't get there because you're flawed. They didn't take over because you're weak. They're there because you didn't know how powerful you are. No one ever told you that you are the gardener, that the thoughts you nurture shape your reality. But you know it now. And once you know, you can never unknow. Discipline begins in the garden of your mind. It starts with the thoughts you choose to water. Every day you have the choice to pour your energy, your most precious resource, into thoughts that elevate you or into thoughts that keep you small. And let me tell you something powerful, whatever you water will grow. Think of it this way, you wouldn't water a weed in your garden and expect it to turn into a rose, would you? So why do we so often feed our fears, our doubts, our limitations, and then wonder why we feel stuck? It's not about judgment, it's about awareness. Let me share a story. There was a woman who came to me once feeling lost. She said, I don't know why my life feels so heavy. It's like every day I wake up and carry this burden I can't explain. So I asked her, what are you telling yourself every morning? What's the very first thought you plant in the soil of your mind? She paused and her eyes filled with tears. She said, I tell myself it's going to be another hard day. And there it was. She'd been planting the same seed every morning, watering it with her attention, and watching it grow into a forest of struggle. But once she saw it, once she became the conscious gardener of her mind, everything shifted. She began each day with a new seed. Today as a gift, and I'm here to grow, and guess what? Her garden began to transform. Now, let's bring it back to you. What thoughts are you watering right now? Are they the kind that lift you up or the kind that weigh you down? Because here's the thing, every time you replay an old story of limitation, every time you focus on what's not working, you're watering weeds. But every time you choose a thought that aligns with your highest self, you're planting a tree of potential that will bear fruit for years to come. Let's get practical for a moment. I want you to take inventory of your thoughts. Grab a journal and write down the 3 most common thoughts you've had today. Be honest. Look at them. Are they the kind of seeds you want growing in your life? If they're not, don't panic. Don't beat yourself up. Just start planting something new. Because here's the beauty of the mind, it's never too late to start fresh. Your garden is always ready for new seeds. And here's another little secret, you don't have to fight the weeds. You don't have to spend all your energy pulling them out. Just stop watering them. That's it. Stop feeding them with your attention, your energy, your belief. Instead, pour all of that into the thoughts that empower you. Over time, the weeds will wither on their own, and your garden will be filled with the vibrant growth of your highest intentions. Let me leave you with this: every thought you think is a choice. Every intention you nurture is a vote for the life you want to live. So ask yourself right here, right now, what are you planting today? You don't find willpower, you generate it. Think about that for a moment. Let it roll around in your mind like a pebble in a stream. Because so often we think of willpower as something that we're either born with or we're not. We think it's like a talent, some people just have it and some people don't. But I'm here to tell you that's not how it works. Willpower isn't something you stumble upon or wait for, it's something you create. Every single moment, you are given a choice. A tiny moment that might seem insignificant on the surface, but carries the weight of transformation beneath it. And that choice, that's where willpower is born. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt completely in control of your choices? Not because of outside pressure, but because you chose to take a step forward. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. That moment, that spark of decision, is willpower in its purest form. It's not a reservoir you dip into, it's a flame you ignite every time you choose to act in alignment with your highest self. Let me share a story with you. Imagine a man waking up at 5 a.m. every day to train for a marathon. He's not a natural runner. In fact, when he started, he could barely jog a mile without feeling like his lungs were on fire. But every morning, rain or shine, he laces up his shoes and hits the pavement. Now, here's the twist: he doesn't love waking up early. He doesn't magically have more energy or motivation than anyone else. What he has is a practice. He's generating willpower one step at a time, every time his feet hit the ground. Because willpower isn't about how you feel in the moment, it's about the action you choose in the moment. It's about recognizing that every small decision matters. Every time you choose to take the stairs instead of the elevator, every time you turn off the TV and pick up that book, every time you step into discomfort rather than retreat into habit, you're building the fire of self-discipline. Here's something I want you to try. The next time you're faced with a choice, any choice, pause, just for a second. Feel that space between stimulus and response. That's where your power lies. That's where you generate willpower. Because in that pause, you can decide, do I act out of habit or do I act out of intention? Think about this: how often do we tell ourselves, I'll wait until I feel ready, or I just need the right moment? But here's the secret: readiness doesn't come before action. Action creates readiness. Waiting for willpower is like standing in a dark room waiting for the light to turn on by itself. You have to reach out and flip the switch. And isn't that liberating? To realize that you're not at the mercy of some external force, but that the power has been in your hands all along. That with every choice, no matter how small, you're fanning the flames of your inner strength. Because that's what willpower is: a fire. And like any fire, it starts with a single spark. Let me ask you another question: what sparks your fire? What gets you moving when the world feels heavy, when your energy is low, when the excuses start piling up? Is it the thought of who you want to become? Is it the dream you've been holding in your heart for years? Whatever it is, hold on to it, let it be your fuel. And here's where it gets really interesting. Willpower isn't just about resisting the things you don't want to do. It's about embracing the things you do. It's not about saying no to that extra slice of cake just because you think you should. It's about saying yes to the version of yourself that feels vibrant, healthy, and alive. It's about saying yes to the person you're becoming. I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself a year from now. Look at that future version if you really see them. How do they stand? How do they feel? What have they achieved? Now trace it back. What choices did they make moment by moment to become that person? Because that's the truth of it. Your future self isn't created in one grand gesture. They're built in the quiet, ordinary moments when you choose growth over comfort, when you choose alignment over avoidance. Let me bring this home with a little exercise. Think of a goal you've been working toward, or maybe one you've been putting off. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. Now ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today, just one thing that aligns with that goal? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be monumental. It just has to be intentional. And then when you do that one thing, celebrate it. Recognize it for what it is, a spark that fuels the fire of your self-discipline. Because every time you act in alignment with your values, you're not just achieving a goal. You're becoming someone who keeps their promises to themselves. And isn't that the ultimate freedom? To trust yourself, to know that you are capable of creating the life you want. So remember this, you don't find willpower, you generate it, and you do it one moment, one choice, one spark at a time. Because every time you choose to show up, every time you decide to take that step forward, no matter how small, you're proving to yourself that you are not defined by your circumstances, you are defined by your choices. And with every choice, you're writing the story of your highest self. Imagine this, waking up every single day as the person you've always dreamed of being. Picture it. Feel it. Not someday, not after a promotion, or when you've lost the weight, or when life finally gets easier. No, I'm talking about waking up tomorrow and stepping fully into the extraordinary, unshakable version of yourself that's already there, just waiting for you to say yes. What if I told you that you don't have to wait? That the only thing standing between you and the person you're destined to be is a decision backed by something so simple, yet so powerful: willpower. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Willpower? That sounds hard, exhausting, but that's where we've got it all wrong. Willpower isn't a chore, it's a gift. It's not about grinding through life, forcing yourself to be someone you're not. It's the bridge, the steady, graceful bridge between where you are now and the extraordinary life you deserve. See, every one of us is born with this incredible, limitless potential. But somewhere along the way, we build walls of fear, of doubt, of old habits that feel safe but keep us small. And we start believing the lie that becoming our best self is too hard, that it takes too much. But here's the truth, becoming that person, it's already in you. The strength, the courage, the clarity, it's all there waiting. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this version of yourself, the one who lives with purpose, who acts with intention, who wakes up every day excited to take on the world. You can see them, can't you? You know they're in there. And here's the secret: willpower isn't about becoming something you're not. It's about removing everything that's been holding you back from being who you truly are. You might be carrying a story right now, a story that says, I don't have enough discipline, or I've tried before and I've failed. But let me ask you this, if you've carried the weight of self-doubt, of fear, of playing small, how much strength do you already have? Think about it. You've been carrying that weight for years, maybe decades. Imagine what would happen if you used that same strength to move forward instead of holding yourself back. That's the beauty of willpower. It's not about resisting your impulses, it's about aligning them. It's not about fighting yourself, it's about loving yourself enough to choose what truly matters. Let me share a little story with you. There was a man who dreamed of running a marathon, but he wasn't a runner. He wasn't a runner. Not even close. In fact, he couldn't run a mile without gasping for air. Still, he set the goal. And on the first day of training, he didn't run 10 miles or even 5. He just laced up his shoes, stepped outside, and jogged for 1 minute. That's it. 1 minute. The next day, he ran for 2. Then 3. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't Instagram worthy, but day by day he showed up. And every time he did, he told himself, this is who I am. I am the kind of person who shows up. And do you know what happened? His identity began to shift. He wasn't just someone trying to run a marathon. He was a runner. That's the magic of willpower. It's not about making giant leaps. It's about those small, consistent steps that over time create momentum. Because momentum is what carries you. It's what transforms effort into ease, struggle into flow. Now, I want you to think about your own life. What's one small step you could take today? Not next week, not next year, but today. What's one choice you can make that aligns with the person you want to become? Maybe it's setting your alarm 10 minutes earlier tomorrow to start your day with intention. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water before your coffee. Maybe it's reaching out to that friend you've been meaning to call, or spending 5 minutes journaling about your dreams. Whatever it is, let it be small. Let it be manageable. Because the size of the action doesn't matter. What matters is that you're saying yes to yourself. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you honor that, yes, every time you take a step toward your dreams, no matter how small, you're telling your mind, this is who I am. And do you know what happens when you start to believe that? Your actions change, your habits shift, your entire reality begins to transform. You see, willpower isn't this finite resource that runs out if you use it too much. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. And just like a muscle, it needs rest, it needs care, it needs nourishment. So don't be afraid to celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Don't be afraid to rest when you need to. Because rest isn't quitting, it's recharging. But let me ask you this, what if for just one day you lived as though you were already the person you want to be? What if you woke up tomorrow and said, today I am going to act like the healthiest, happiest, most successful version of myself? Would you hit snooze, or would you get out of bed with purpose? Would you eat out of boredom, or would you nourish your body with intention? Would you scroll through your phone mindlessly, or would you use that time to learn, to grow, to connect? Here's the trick, you don't have to wait to feel ready. Because readiness is a myth. The only way to become the person you want to be is to start living as though you're already them. Right now, not perfectly, not flawlessly. But with love, with curiosity, with the belief that every step you take is a step closer to the extraordinary life you deserve. And when it gets hard, and it will remember this, you're not doing it alone. The universe, life itself, is on your side. Every time you take a step toward your dreams, the universe steps toward you. Every time you say yes to growth, to possibility, to your own potential, the universe conspires to support you. So take a deep breath. Let go of the idea that you have to do it all, that you have to be perfect. You don't. All you have to do is show up. Show up for yourself, for your dreams, for the life that's waiting for you on the other side of that bridge. Willpower isn't a chore. It's not a punishment. It's a gift that allows you to become the person you've always wanted to be. So take the first step. Because your extraordinary life, it's closer than you think. Thanks for joining me today. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more motivational content. Share your thoughts in the comments below.